up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the House of Jas Podcast. Now, listen, in the House of Jas, just like anybody else's home, we got house rules, y'all. Rule number one is choose you and watch everything else choose you too. So, a lot of the things that we talk about here are going to be centered around self preservation, it's going to be centered around self love, self worth, self awareness, and things of that nature. So, we really want to hone in on that choose you and watch everything else choose you too. Okay. Now, rule number two is that in your life and even on this podcast, we want you to revert back to rule number one. Now, if there was a rule number three would be to, let's just say, in my time, in my day, where I'm from, Southwest Georgia, it was whatever goes on in this house stays in this house. Well, rule number three for the House of Jas is share my stuff. Talk about everything that we talk about in the House of Jas so that other people can know that we're here, so that we can build community, and also so that we can build and change and shift perspectives. You never know if you might come across some type of information that helps you or can help someone else. So I want you to make sure that we share what we talk about here in the House of Jas. All right. So let's talk about being courageous, right? Let's talk about not having to think about the things that we do, the things that we want to do, and just doing them. I was talking to my sister the other day and a couple friends because there's something that I noticed about myself that has shifted. And I'm like, when did it happen? And here's what it is. There was a time in my life where I never second guess myself. I never guess myself on things that I liked. I never second guessed myself on who I was. I never second guessed myself on the things that I wanted to do and or accomplish. There was a time in my life that I could remember specifically that if something, an idea of some sort came in my mind and I said I wanted to do it, I would do it. I can literally say there is nothing that I've ever said that I wanted to do that I did not do. But today, I've noticed that that has shifted. And as I reflect back on it, I'm like, when did it change? So, for instance, here's exactly what I mean. So, when I'm coming up in school, grade school, things of that nature, I was like, oh, I want to be a part of every club that I want to be a part of. Shout out to my brother, because my brother, when he was in school, he's 11 years older than me. When he was in school, I swear this boy was Mr. Popular, and he was a part of all of the high school groups and clubs and things like that. And I was like, I want to be like my brother. I wanted to be like my brother. So I said out, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be like my brother. I'm just gonna go and join all the clubs. Not only did I join all of the clubs, but I also joined all of the like teams and things that I wanted to be in. Like I played basketball, I played volleyball, I ran track. Anything that I wanted to do, I did it. Because for some odd reason, yes, I wanted to be like my brother, but I felt like if he did it, surely these are things that can be done, right? And so I can remember being in high school and saying I wanted to be the drum major of the band, saying again that I wanted to play basketball, saying that I wanted to run for Miss Mitchell Baker High School, in which I did, and I won. Like there was nothing that I said that I didn't want to do that I didn't do. And then moving on to college, I knew I wanted to go to college. Went to college and I was like, oh, I want to be in the band, or I want to be in the band sorority, or I want to be in this sorority. There was absolutely nothing that I said I wanted to do that I didn't do. I wanted to be on the basketball dance team. Shout out to the Platinum Divas, right? I wanted to do that and literally would do that stuff off of fumes. I'm talking about waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to practice for one team, and then going to band practice, and then getting out of there and just doing it all over and still maintaining my GPA because I wanted to do it. There was nothing about what I thought or what I put in my mind that I did not want to do. And when I graduated college, I said, oh, I want to move from down south and I want to go further north and I want to be in management. And that's exactly what I did. I started working at Walgreens maybe a few weeks after, as a manager, maybe a few weeks after I graduated college. And then found out I was pregnant with my first son. And in the midst of that, I realized management was not for me. So what am I going to do? Oh, I need something with nights and weekends. I need something that gives me my nights and weekends because I want to spend time with my brand new baby. So what you going to do? Me and my line sister, and we talk about this all the time. It's so funny. But we decided that we were going to be teachers. At that time, I didn't know anything about teaching. Mind you, I had a psychology degree. My bachelor's degree is in psychology. So I had no idea how to become a teacher. But I said, teaching gives me my nights and weekends. Let's go be a teacher. And we joked about how we were going to do that. We joked about how we were actually going to go because we found out because we had these like humanitarian type degrees that we could actually go back, take the test, and then go into something like special education or social sciences and things like that. And we said, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back. We're going to teach social studies. We're going to read a chapter. And you know how you used to have the chapters and then you used to have the questions in the back of the book? That's how it was for us. So we was like, we're going to read a chapter. We're going to answer the questions in the back of the book. And then by the end of the unit, then we'll give a whole test on the questions on the back of the book because that's what it seemed like the teachers were doing. We joked about it. But lo and behold, guess what ended up happening? I ended up going to pursue trying to become a teacher without a teaching degree. And I would apply for jobs because somebody told me that it was possible. So I was like, okay, let me just do this. Lo and behold, not long after that, I get a call from down south from my former school where I went to high school where they had a position open. Went on, got that position. So now guess what? I got the night and weekends. And I said to myself, you know what? I want to be a coach. I want to coach basketball. I played basketball. I loved basketball. I loved my coach. I loved the way they poured into us. And I wanted to do that too. So I want to coach basketball. So as soon as I got there, I started looking around like, hey, is there any way that your girl can coach basketball? Well, not too long after I said that's what I want to do, that's what ended up happening. I ended up getting my own middle school team, and I was the assistant coach for the high school team, right? And so I spent those 3.5 years down there in my hometown coaching one of my favorite sports and even getting an opportunity to coach alongside the coach who coached me. And I just thought it was absolutely amazing. And then when it was time to go, I was like, you know what? I want to move to Atlanta. I want to move to Atlanta. I want to continue my teaching career. I want to learn more, and I want to give my son more exposure because that was something that I realized that down there we didn't have. I was very smart. We had great teachers. I had a great education matriculation. I did well, but I saw when I got to college how much more I didn't know simply because those students were exposed. So I wanted to do the same thing for my son. So I said, okay, what better way to do that than to move? So I moved to Atlanta. And it was nothing about that that said I wasn't going to get a job, that I wasn't going to find a place to stay. I just said that's what I wanted to do, and I did it. I just start taking the small steps to actually do it. And never once in my mind did I ever think that it wouldn't happen. There was even a time when I was still teaching in my first teaching career in Mitchell County that I realized that okay, I hurt myself. I had torn my ACL one day at practice with my girls, torn my ACL, but I had already committed to go back and get my master's degree. There was still nothing about me injuring myself, being on bed rest that said that I wouldn't be able to still coach, that I still wouldn't be able to teach my classes and go and get my master's full time. And that's exactly what I did. My principal, when he hired me, he said, oh, you got 3 years on this provisional. And in that 3 years, I would just like for you to go ahead and get your clear and renewable certificate. Shout out to all of my teachers. Y'all know what I mean, right? So he said, and I said, okay. And there was nothing about me going back to school to get my master's that said that I couldn't. I never second guessed myself. And so when I moved to Atlanta, same thing happened. I never second guessed myself. And then there I said, I want to continue to coach. And then I moved to a different school than the one that I moved here with. And there was this world of instructional technology. And I was like, what's this new world? Baby, at the moment that I realized that there was this whole education experience out there, I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to become an instructional technology specialist. There was this group called I Teach that came out of Kennesaw. They would contract themselves into the other school districts in the Atlanta and Metro Atlanta areas. I wanted to be a part of that group. Before then, there was an elite group of technologists or educators called Vanguard. I wanted to be a part of that group. Everything that I wanted to do, I've done. So why do I, in this day's time, start to think about, even after starting my business, even after helping women lose 13, 14, 20, 21 pounds in just 21 days, after coaching women for so long, what was it that got me to a point that said, why am I afraid to take these next steps to expand who I am and what I do? Like being totally transparent and going through these major transitions in my life right now, I have found myself like second guessing. Well, what if it doesn't work? Well, what are the steps that it's going to take for me to get there? Well, how long is it going to take? When that was never my thought process, never my thought process and all the experiences that I've told you about. So I was like, where did I stop being courageous? Where did I lose that? What happened? Here's what happened. And here's what I'm going to tell you, that if you have experienced something similar, I ask that you go and you reflect. What happened is that life actually happened. What happened was I went through a few traumatic experiences that shifted my perspective on what it looked like to move forward. I started to believe in what those traumatic experience had conditioned me to believe. And that was that I didn't make really good decisions, even though I have a track record that says that I did. It made me believe that I couldn't trust myself when I have a track record that says that I can. It made me believe that there was more required of me than to just believe, move, and do. And so I had to sit back and I had to ask myself, and I really had to think, like, what happened? And so that just speaks to, if you're in a situation like that, that just speaks to there are probably some things that you've done, some mistakes that you've made, some experiences that you have had to encounter that have shifted your perspective. And now you've started to tell your story that you can't be trustworthy of yourself, that you can't do the things that you know to put your mind to, that the simplest thing is you just have to move, and you don't believe that. Because I know I didn't. I'm actually, if I'm being totally transparent, I'm actually having to rebuild that in myself right now, right? So I just would ask that if you find yourself, or if you found yourself in those types of situations, go back, think about those things, dissect them as much as you can. I'm a very, very big advocate of therapy. Go to therapy, unpack those things, and make sure that you do the work to undo, to unlearn those things that you've been conditioned to believe based off of the traumatic experiences that you've had. Unpack those things and rewire your thinking, right? Know that you are enough. Know that if there's something that you want to do, all it consists of is you making the decision to do it and then taking the proper steps. And here's the kicker. You're not going to always know what step 1, 2, and 3 are. But I believe that God gives us crumbs. I believe that God gives us instructions on the way in the journey. And I'm speaking to me right now. I believe that God gives us instructions on the way in the journey, but you won't be able to find those things, those clues, if you don't start. So make a decision that that's what you want to do, and then just start where you are with what you know, and then God will give you the things that you need on the go. All right. So I hope that really, really helped. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you've experienced. Also, let me know if this was an episode that helped you. Let me know in the comments. And if it did, please go out and share with other people. Make sure you hit that red button, because we want people to come and join the house party. All right. So until next time, remember our house rules: choose you and watch everything else choose you too.